Hi everyone, I'm Kevin with My Shop Assist. Today I'm going to go over a new feature we just added. This new feature is going to make it really easy for machine shops or anybody doing kind of light assembly, and especially even just shops that are taking engines apart or taking cars completely apart and have parts kind of all over throughout the shop. So the idea is that we can now make a QR code for every job you have, and that QR code is printable. And so you can print them onto little labels like this wire tag here and attach this to an engine block or cylinder head or crankshaft or transmission or a bin of parts or a rack. Basically, anywhere you're putting your stuff, you can now tag it with a QR code. And then we enabled you to be able to scan this with like a QR code scanner or your camera's, your cell phone's camera on the website. Okay, to start, I have my jobs page here. So I have a fake job here named Ben Franklin. Also, just to show how the functionality works or some of the additional functionality is, I have basically what I would call like the KanBan board. And these are the different zones of walking through essentially the assembly of an engine block. So I have check-in, I have machining steps, I have assembly, quality check, and shipping. And so we'll walk this job all the way through this and we'll see how it works. So to start, we go into Ben Franklin here. And up on the top right, we have a little QR code button here now. If you press this, it's going to pull up a QR code tag here. And so this tag, this QR code is mapped to this job. And then we have Ben Franklin, the customer, and we have the job title, which is a course carriage and a invoice number. And we have a little print icon here. So I'm going to go ahead and print this label here. And we have two options, a 4x2 and a 4x6. This label printer that I have it configured for can do either. And I'll kind of walk through the steps of how to do that. But in this quick walkthrough here, I'm just going to start with a 4x2. So when I select it, it's going to select the printer that I have here, and I'm going to go ahead and print it, and I'll show you what it looks like. So it's printed the label really quickly. I take this off the label. And now I got my label, and I got my wire tag, and I'm going to go ahead and stick that on there. So I just peel it, put it on my tag, and so now I have a label. And this right here can be scanned very easily. So I got my QR code scanner, which this one is a USB dongle through the bottom here. And I'll explain what model it here is in a second, but let me show you how it works. So if I go back into MSA, let me turn on my picture-in-picture here. Okay, so when you're looking at the job page here and you have, let's say we've already checked this Ben Franklin in here and we're ready to machine it. And we have our little QR code here. We can now use all these different QR codes here, as well as this one on the top. So let's start with the one on the top. I'm going to click the button, and it's going to ask for either the QR code reader, which is connected via USB to this computer, or if you're on your phone, it will use the camera. But basically, all you do is you just scan it, and it brings you straight into the job. Makes it super simple to be able to, be working on a bunch of engines at once and just scan the QR codes and move from job to job. So it's quite easy to do that. We also added some functionality. So if you go to Shop and you go to Settings, I have an option here that says automatically move jobs when scanning QR codes. This is turned on so that way if you are doing more of an assembly type of work, and so you're moving it from section to section on this jobs list, it'll move them as you scan them rather than having to manually drag them yourself. So here's how it works. If you scan it from this QR code here, it will automatically move the job from one to the next. And so you can be working at an assembly station, you click the QR code scanner, and it will just move the job over for you. And it just keeps moving along. So let me explain the equipment I have so you can kind of understand how simple this is and how inexpensive it is. This right here is a Netum Scan wireless QR code and barcode scanner. So like I said, it's got a little USB dongle that it comes with. And so I put the USB dongle on my PC, and now it just communicates wirelessly. You can also use it via Bluetooth. I have not configured it to this computer to try Bluetooth, but that would also work. This thing is $42 on Amazon. I've used it in my little engine assembly room a couple times already, and it works very, very well. I'll share the link on where you can get that from. The second piece to this puzzle is this Munbin RW403 Bluetooth thermal label printer. I paid $78 for this thing on Amazon. It communicates over Bluetooth. It also comes with a USB-C cord that you can plug directly into the PC. When you're configuring this thing, it's not like super simple, only because I changed the label size. So I'm going to walk you through how I got that to work. So let me pull up my printer settings. Okay, in my printer settings, I have my MunBin RW403 Bluetooth printer. I did have to go to their website and download the PC app or drivers that they have. It did. The PC I'm on automatically recognized it, but did not know it was a printer. So I had to download the Bluetooth printer drivers for this thing, and then it added it. That was pretty straightforward. The part that was a little confusing to me at first is this thing is default set up for a 4x6 label. I do have 4x6 labels here, and I do have it set up to print to those, but they're quite big, so they're not easy to fit on these little wire tags. So what I had to do to make this work is I had to go into my printer preferences, and I had to create a custom paper for it. So I clicked this, and on the bottom section, it says custom paper information. I put in the name of it, which is a 4-inch by 2-inch label, and I had to change my width. It wants it in millimeters, so 25.4 millimeters in an inch. Multiply that by 4 is a 101.6 millimeters wide, and the length is 50.8 millimeters. So I had to put that in there, and you have to click Save. When you click Save, it will add it to this top list here. Then we are okay. Then the next step is on the top here, you go in and select your new custom label. Once you have done that, now the printer will print to this 4x2 label. I have no idea why it doesn't do it in the actual print page. It does not recognize the paper size. It just constantly wants to print out a 4x6. But once I did this, then it will print onto the 4x2s very easily. So now I can come into this job. I can click QR code. We click print. We click 4x2. And here is where it knows what we are printing to. Even when you go to the more settings, it recognizes this 4x2 label. It was not on there before because I had to add it. And now I can print. And so if I go back to my printer picture and print this thing, very, very easy to do. So that's it. I also have this caddy behind it. So if you're looking at this, the printer, this caddy here that holds the spool of labels right behind it, so this whole thing right here, that is also a MunBin external roll label holder. I paid $20 for that. I kind of ordered all this stuff as a package. And these labels here, these are 2x4 roll. The brand is Essential. Thermal barcode labels. 750 labels for $10. So super inexpensive. The good news is about this printer is I also double use it now because we do some light e-commerce stuff. On Shopify, every single label comes out as a 4x6. This printer prints those very, very easily. The only catch is every single time I print between labels and shipping tags, I have to go back into the printer settings and tell it what paper I'm using. I don't have a solution for that to make it any easier, but it's not difficult to do. It's just annoying. Also, this MunBin printer here is Bluetooth, but I have not figured out how to print from an iPhone. The iPhones do recognize it, and they can connect to it with the MunBin app, but you cannot print directly from the website or really anything other than bringing it into the MunBin app to print from it. I don't know if there's a solution for that. From what I have discovered is they do have an AirPrint version of this printer, which is about double the price. I think they're like $170. It does show that is Apple AirPrint compatible, in which case then I would probably be able to do it. If I try that and it works, I'll let everybody know. But this one, the RW403B, works great on a PC, does not work very well for printing from a phone, but the idea is that you'll be able to print this from a phone eventually. So I'll figure it out, and I'll let everybody know. So that's really it. If you have any questions on using this, I do plan on expanding some of this functionality. In fact, I already did start adding stuff in here. So if you go to your shop parts, I also added a QR code for parts. So if you go into a part, this is a shop part. I have the QR code on this. You can print these as well. And when you print them, the scanner up on the top will also recognize they are parts, and it will pull up the edit part page. That doesn't do anything beyond pulling the part yet. I plan on adding it so you can mark it as need to order or add it to a job directly from the QR code scan. So that's coming. But for the most part, right now, you can use it for jobs and moving the jobs from your different zones and going into the job. So it's a quick and easy way to do that. So if you have any questions, just let me know. All right. Thanks for watching.